Hi guys, welcome back to Codemaster Coach, your medical coding tutor. Okay guys, we're continuing our review of the official 2025 ICD-10-CM coding guidelines. We stopped last week at external cause coding. Let me minimize my box and let's get started. All right, chapter 20, external causes of morbidity. These codes range from V00 through Y99. And I start off with the note that says external cause coding has its own index and is located behind the neoplasm table and the table of drugs and chemicals. And I did scan the first page of the ICD-10-CM index to external causes of injuries. So if you're not careful, this looks just like the alphabetic index to disease and injuries. So I always teach my students, look at the very top of the page. Make sure you're in the right index because it looks just like it. Okay? And on the side it shows you index to external causes of injuries. This is further back in the book, in the ICD-10-CM book. All right, I have another note. External cause coding is not nationally mandated coding. These codes are state required or third-party payer required coding. So again, depending on which state you're coding for will determine whether or not external cause coding is required. I have another note that says external cause codes are never sequenced first. Because think about it, what are external cause codes? External cause codes have nothing to do with the diagnoses or the procedure. External cause codes describe what occurred, how it occurred, the fact that you were in a motor vehicle accident, the fact that because of that accident, it caused your injuries. So I have a purple note, which is a Codemaster Coach note that says, what should be coded? What occurred? Was it a fall? Was it a motor vehicle accident? Was it a tripping accident? So there's four things. What occurred? Activity. What was the patient doing at the time of that the injury occurred? Example would be a student playing football, and they got tackled. So the activity was playing football. And in the place, where did the injury occur? Store, at home, in a park. And based on the activity I gave earlier, playing football, on the football field. And then the status. And I told myself, okay, we started these external cause codes during the time when we were sending our troops over to Saudi Arabia. So we had to identify were the injuries civilian related or military. But now status has grown a whole lot more. We're looking at not just civilian or military, even student, or were they doing something that they were getting paid for to show workers' comp injuries, such as that. So again, we're looking at four things: what occurred, activity, place, and status. Those are the four things you look for with external cause codes. All right, we start off with the first one, general external cause coding guidelines. And we're at number 1. Use with any code in range A through 00.0 through T88.9 and Z00 through Z99. So let's go to the guidelines. All right, it has intro. The external causes of morbidity codes should never be sequenced as the first listed or principal diagnoses, because it is, although it caused you to come in, it is not what is going on with the patient. It's not the diagnoses. So they're never sequenced first, because your first listed will always be your principal diagnoses, that which after study caused the admission. So although you did have the motor vehicle accident, your injuries justified coming in, and those injuries are what we're going to be sequencing first. Then it says external cause codes are intended to provide data for injury research and evaluation of injury prevention strategies. I can remember when four-wheelers or ATVs first came out, and we had so many young children under the age of 3 coming in due to death or severe injuries because of ATVs or four-wheelers. And so because of all of those multiple injuries, now they have a law passed that children under 3 years of age cannot be on an ATV or a four-wheeler without the accompaniment of an adult. So again, these external cause codes can bring attention to certain injuries that occur and help us set up laws or legislations that prevent further injuries. These codes capture how the injury or health condition happened, the cause, the intent, was it unintentional or accidental or intentional, such as a suicide or assault, and the place where the event occurred, the activity of the patient at the time of the event, and the person's status, civilian or military. There is no national requirement for mandatory ICD-10-CM external cause code reporting. Again, it's not national, it's state. Unless a provider is subject to a state-based external cause code reporting mandate, or these codes are required by a particular payer, reporting of ICD-10-CM codes in Chapter 20, external cause of morbidity, is not required. And in the absence of a mandatory reporting requirement, providers are encouraged to voluntarily report external cause codes as they provide valuable data for injury research and evaluation of injury prevention strategies. So we can see the benefit of external cause coding. It might not be federal mandated, but it is state. And I see it happening. I see more and more, or my concern, like I always teach my students, is although I live in one state, I may code for other states, and I need to know what their state requirements are so that I'll know whether or not I need to do external cause coding on their charts. So it is valuable to learn. I've had students tell me, well, external cause coding is not on the CPC exam. Okay, no, it's not on the CPC exam. However, what if you're at your desk in your state and you're coding for another state that does require external cause coding? You need to know how to code it. All right, let's start with A. General external cause coding guidelines. Hold still. Okay. Number 1, use with any code in the range of A00.0 through T88.9 and Z00 through Z99. And y'all look at these codes. If you look at them, you know these are the diagnoses codes. Z codes tend to be more of a status, so many weeks pregnant. Oh, by the way, they're allergic to penicillin, etc. And the Z codes coming in for an exam. Nothing's wrong. But these are conditions that may have external reasons or causes. An external cause code may be used with any code in the range of A00.0 through T88.9 and Z00 through Z99 classification that represents a health condition due to an external cause. So look out, see if there's any type of injury. If there is, then look for an external cause code for it. Though they are most applicable to injuries, they are also valid for use with such things as infections or diseases due to an external source and other health conditions such as a heart attack that occurs during strenuous physical activity. You want to identify the fact that due to that strenuous physical activity, patient went into a heart attack. Or it says due to infections or diseases due to an external source. If we're finding that it's in the water or it's in the power lines, these are external causes and we need to identify them. All right, let's see if anything else. 1, external cause, straight from the guidelines. Number 2, external cause codes used for length of treatment. Remember, a lot of these injury codes require the 7th character, and that 7th character is either A, D, or S. And remember the difference in the A, D, and S is A for the initial encounter, where they're still receiving active treatment. Initial in diagnoses coding does not mean first, like in CPT, the initial visit is the first visit. Remember, in ICD-10-CM, initial does not mean first. It means as long as you're receiving active treatment. It's an A. That's initial. You're still receiving active treatment. It becomes a D for subsequent encounter when it's follow-up. There is no active treatment. And in D is the sequela. We identify the late effect, something previously occurred, and now today you have. Well, sequela is the result of a previous injury or condition. So those are your 7th characters, A, D, and S. So let's go to the guidelines on number 2. Assign the external cause code with the appropriate 7th character, initial encounter, subsequent encounter, or sequela, for each encounter for which the injury or condition is being treated. Most categories in Chapter 20 have a 7th character requirement for each applicable code. Most categories in this chapter have 3 7th character values: A, initial, D, subsequent, and S, sequela. While the patient may be seen by a new or different provider over the course of treatment for an injury or condition, assignment of the 7th character for external cause should match the 7th character of the code assigned for the associated injury or condition for the encounter. So here it's saying your 7th character for the condition should match the 7th character on the external cause codes. Makes sense, because as long as you're receiving active treatment, it is still A, initial. All right, let's go back. Let's see number 3. Straight from the guidelines. Use the full range of external cause codes. So let's go to the guidelines for number 3. Use the full range of external cause codes to completely describe the cause, the intent, the place of occurrence, and, if applicable, the activity of the patient at the time of the event, and the patient's status for all injuries and other health conditions due to an external cause. Makes sense, okay? That's 3. Yep, straight from the guidelines. 4. Assign as many external cause codes as necessary. Let's go to the guidelines. Assign as many external cause codes as necessary to fully explain each cause. If only one external code can be recorded, then assign the code most related to the principal diagnoses. Straight from the guidelines. 5. The selection of the appropriate external cause code. Straight from the guidelines. The selection of the appropriate external cause code is guided by the alphabetic index of external causes and by inclusion and exclusion notes in the tabular list. So make sure before you assign that external cause code that you verify that code in your tabular and look for exclusion notes. Make sure there aren't any. That's 5. 6. External cause codes can never be a principal diagnosis. Let's go to 6. An external cause code can never be a principal or first listed diagnosis. They're building that. They're just making sure you understand that. That is not the reason for the admission. So it cannot be the principal diagnoses. Keep that in mind. And 7, combination external cause code, straight from the guideline. Certain of the external cause codes are combination codes that identify sequential events that result in an injury, such as a fall which results in striking against an object. So you can find that in that alphabetic index to external cause: fall, striking against. So to be main term fall, subterm striking against an object. The injury may be due to either event or both. The combination external cause code used should correspond to the sequence of events, regardless of which caused the most serious injury. So if it was just a fall, fine, go with fall. But if it was a fall striking against, make sure you identify under the main term fall that it was a fall with striking against an object. Make sure you fully describe what occurred. Okay, let's see. We got that. 8. No external cause code needed in certain circumstances. So let's see what 8 says. No external cause code from Chapter 20 is needed if the external cause and intent are included in a code from another chapter. For example, if you look at the T36.0x1, poisoning by penicillin, accidental, unintentional, it fully describes the external cause. So there is no need for an additional external cause code. So make sure my guidelines say that. Yep, straight from the guidelines. So again, external cause coding. Yep, that leads us to next video. Next week will be on place of occurrence. But ultimately, just remember, external cause coding is describing what occurred to cause this injury. It is state mandated, not federal. However, some third-party payers do require external cause coding. And remember, when you're coding external cause codes, you're coding 4 things. The goal is 4 things. And it's only on that initial visit: what occurred, activity of the patient at the time that the injury occurred, place of occurrence, and status. Okay, guys, I'll be back. And in the next section, we'll be going over place of occurrence, and we'll even hit activity, because we're going to cover these external cause guidelines in further detail. Okay, guys, thanks. I'll see you in the next one.